among other things, making pronouncements that seem to suggest a plot to cause harm to members of the opposition or people that they deem to be their political opponents, or acting in ways that affect their political fortunes. It has generated a lot of controversy. There has been denials, including the NDC issued a statement tonight stating that the audio in question is doctored, fabricated, completely false, and not true. But in the same breath, the NDC had said that they know and have evidence to support that the government, working in concert with national security, had bagged their national offices, and with rings of the Watergate scandal they have pointed to. Tonight they've said to us in a statement that they will sue, drag this matter to court, just so that they can make sure that their rights are not violated. That is where we are tonight. But a top liner of this is the invitation that the CID has now sent out formally to the national chairman of the NDC, Samuel Fusampo, for him to appear at the CID headquarters tomorrow at 10 a.m. to assist in investigations. Obviously, because of the many incriminating words heard on that particular tape. The MPP also addressed a press conference today. Obviously, this is a hotly contested political matter, and in their view, it just portrays a certain mindset to subvert this country's constitution and our democracy. But why is the NPP jumping into the fray when this matter is something that the police is going to investigate? What is your interest in all this? And that's why tonight we'll be interrogating all these issues. And because of the gravity, the seriousness of the allegations as we've heard on that particular secret tape, bordering on things that it will do to the Electoral Commission chairperson, the head of the Peace Council, civil society people, and other members of society, really. So stay with us as we begin to interrogate all these. My guest in the studio already is the communications director of the governing National New Patriotic Party, the MPP, Yao Boabeng Asama, who's also MP for Adentan constituency. We'll be joined shortly by private legal practitioner, Mr. Martin Kwebu, of course, because there are a lot of legal questions that this raises, that the police is also stepping in already. He'll help us explore those angles as well. Mr. Boabeng, thank you for your time here on PM Express.
Thank you very much.
It's been a very busy day for you, from when it starts in the morning, then the press conference on the back of it. I get a sense that as far as the NPP is concerned, the audio that we've heard and circulated is authentic, and that is the voice of the national chairman, regardless of what the NDC says, that this is a doctored, fabricated tape coming from your government. What makes you so certain that this is authentic?
Thank you again, Evans, and good evening to your viewers. Evans, who is the NDC at the moment who is speaking? It's the same NDC which has accepted in another breath that it's them, and that they were in the meeting, and that their audience loved it.
What you
and
talk
they
of
clapped.
Is the
deputy communications officer.
And we'll play that shortly, because it's, if you haven't followed, in fact, we can call it now, because that has become a very contentious matter within the NDC itself. We have the national communications officer himself. If we have that, I want us to hear Sami Jemfi, who is a national communications officer, after which we'll also hear his deputy on that same subject, and then we'll interrogate it. Let's hear Sami Jemfi if you have it.
The tape which is being circulated in the media is a doctored tape. It is totally fake, and we will entreat the people of this country to treat it with the content it deserves. It has all the trappings of a diversionary tactic, and it is obvious that it is a desperate attempt by this government to divert attention from the latest expose by investigative journalist Anazarin Yawanas, which has uncovered some appointees of this government as engaging in illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. and which has also uncovered other corrupt activities of officials of government involved in the so-called fight against galamsey, extorting monies, collecting bribes, and engaging in very despicable corrupt acts. And that is why we are not surprised that I'm hearing totally doctored fake tape on the day that that video is billed to be premiered.
So, Sami, you've heard the tape. Is that the voice of Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, your party chairman?
I can tell you that it sounds like the voice of our party chairman. In fact, they allege that that was a national communications meeting which was attended by the national chairman. I am the chairman of the national communications team. I chair all its meetings. I know that indeed our national chairman has visited us. He visited us not too long ago. But you see, let me tell you what is happening. Because this government is a sinking government, because they are failed the people of this country. We know how they've become a monumental failure relative to all their flagship promises and the expectations of the Ghanaian people. Hence, the untold hardships, debilitating hardships that Ghanaians are going through. And so government has resorted to espionage by spying on political opponents. Not too long ago, the office of one of the senior most members of our party was broken into. We are aware that government, in collaboration with the national security apparatus of this country, have planted bagging devices at our headquarters, and they are spying on us. This intel came to our notice a few months ago. And since then, we've been taking steps, to clean the office and all that. So what they do is that they spy on us, record meetings, and because they don't find anything indicting, anything damaging, anything which suits their selfish political, interest, what they do is that they slice the tapes, insert their own versions, and then with technology available today, clone the tapes as though, the tapes, the recordings are genuine.
So that is the story from the National Communications Officer, Sami Gyamfi. But also, listen to his deputy. He says, the National Communications Officer, Sami Gyamfi, says, this is doctored, it's not true, it's fabricated, etc. But then his deputy, Mr. Boahing, says, in fact, the meeting happened, and what was said on it is in fact what was said in that meeting, and that they are happy about it. And if you disagree with what you've heard, to put it literally, go and bend the ocean. Listen.
The
party accepts all what he said. Party members are happy about it. He met his party members. They are happy about his utterances. That is why they clapped at a point. It was a meeting of our communications team. We meet once every week. Bad people joined the meeting and recorded the discussion. Canadian Japan made portions of the audio available last week. What you hear today is the rest of them. This will not discourage us from talking about the bad things happening in government.
It's a communication
meeting with myself, Sami Gyamfi, and Akugan as leaders. We meet all our communicators to strategize our security and communication. Honorable Ofosu-Ampofo joined us to motivate us. That is why you heard people clapping. Because they are happy. If someone doesn't understand and want to bend the sea, they should go ahead.
So
that is Sami Gyamfi's deputy there in an interview on our sister station on Dome FM. I must indicate that we had arranged to have Mr. Sami Gyamfi join us, but he's unable to do so, and so we will still have a conversation nonetheless. So yes, Mr. Babiansama, there you have it. That is within the party's...
It is the duplicity that is worrying. Who are we to believe? And what is at stake in the tape? Is it the voice that is not that of the national chairman? Is it what he is saying that the communications officer alleges he didn't say? What exactly is about that tape that is fraudulent or doctored or otherwise? It's important that you don't just say that and get away with it. You can imagine all manner of things, and you're being spied upon for 6 months, and you are still sitting there being spied upon for 6 months. Why don't you have your meetings in the garden, for Christ's sake? But the key thing here is that the information given out in that meeting has been accepted by an officer who is a deputy to the communications officer. And he is very categorical. And he thinks it's not a big deal. Where one thinks it's explosive enough to attempt to run away from, the other thinks it's not a big deal.
So you believe the deputy, not the boss?
I don't even know who to believe anymore.
But
That's the point.
You seem to believe the deputy.
Yeah, but the question is, who do you believe? That's what I'm saying, the duplicity. Who do you believe? Now that we are speaking tonight, we are discussing this matter. Who exactly do you believe?
Why don't you believe the party? Because the party has issued a formal statement.
But they are both members of the party in official positions for the party.
The party as an institution takes its supreme to any individual.
Yeah, but he didn't speak as an individual. He spoke as a deputy.
But subsequently, he issued a statement.
Yeah, but signed by the communications officer.
True.
Who is his boss? They are in that same communications department. And they haven't disclaimed what he said. The statement hasn't disclaimed what his deputy said.
So on my other show on radio, Sami Difi was on, I played this to him. He said that he's not sure which tape that his deputy was responding to. But I put to him that it was the same tape, because even in the interview, the deputy references the national chairman coming to the meeting. So it's the same tape. But he says he's going to check with his deputy.
Whichever way they choose to lead it. I think the bottom line, the onus is on the national chairman himself. We know him, we know his voice, we know who he is, and essentially, we know the process we're trying to go through and are committed to going through with. And that is why we are concerned about this tape.
What concerns you about the tape?
It concerns us because at this point in time, we have an opportunity to make a clean break with the past. At this point in time, we have a president who has strong political will and has determined to change the tone, to start with a clean slate, tabula rasa. There's nothing on here. Take it from here. And that gives us, the parties, an opportunity to shed all the doubt and sit down and deliver something worthy of this nation's politics. That opportunity depends on either side, and actually both sides, not either side, but both sides being approaching the table with integrity and open-mindedness. So if you have somebody you are going to sit with to discuss as topical, as serious an issue as resolving political related violence, and that person apparently behind the scenes is planning even more dastardly acts of political violence, then you have cause to be concerned. You may be sitting with somebody who intends to kidnap you the next moment, or do some harm to your family so you are destabilized as a politician. You may be sitting with somebody who intends to have people attack you in ways that you may not connect with them. You may be sitting with somebody who will pretend that he's engaging you, but may have something up his sleeve which will impact what you are both seeking to do negatively. And then how do you proceed to effectively resolve the situation before all of us? We are committed to it, so we expect the other side to be committed to it. And that is why it is worrying. We had no preconditions in mind. Indeed, our chairman had already begun telephone conversations seeking to establish...
As your national chairman?
Yes, please.
But I thought he was out of the country.
He's back. He's back.
So
yes.
He's called his counterpart?
He has.
Already?
Yes.
Oh,
my information is that they've spoken at least 3 times on the phone.
This week alone?
Yeah, since he came back. He's been back since Sunday, I believe. What's today?
Today is Wednesday.
Yeah, I think he's been back since
Sunday.
the
feedback has been positive?
Yeah, they're seeking to engage chairman to chairman so that they do the agenda and the processes before you get the other people involved, only for this to happen this morning.
What does that do? Does that break the trust?
I think the least it does is heighten the tension and bring in some suspicion. That's the least it does. It heightens the tension, genuinely heightens the tension. Because the kinds of things that we hear on that tape, if they're being carried out in the shadows, can be deadly.
Let me read some of. We've taken our time to transcribe the entire audio, and now bring in Martin Kwibu on this. And if you go onto my journal, you find the entire audio transcribed, because some of them is very difficult to hear. But we've taken our time to do that so that you can appreciate what it is. But I want to read this portion that has become very contentious, and it says, and this is the voice, because I'm quoting somebody. If he says it sounds like national chairman, the voice that sounds like the national chairman, that voice says, the security and future survival of our country is at stake. So first of all, people have identified a number of them. I don't know if you have heard, but somebody had called me that one of them is dead and gone, whether heart attack or whatever. You see, 3 days ago and yesterday, those who were living in Nima and Mamobi, nobody has slept in his house. So you see that now we have a tactical advantage. Nobody has slept in his house. They even went on to attack traders. Some imams had to come in and plead for them. People will also start capturing your mothers and fathers and keeping them hostage until you show yourself up. So we need to go back quickly to the drawing board and strategize. Mr. Kwibu, as a lawyer, you listen to this, a national chairman say this in a private meeting, which is now leaked, and what's your reaction to it?
Yes, Evans, please, can you take the last part? Say people will now...
Yeah. Is that the people will also start capturing your mothers and fathers and keeping them hostage until you show yourself up.
Wow. Evans, I thought it was something else. Okay, this, to be candid, this is the first time I'm hearing it this way.
Yeah.
Because it had been portrayed the other way, that he had said they would rather kidnap other people, right?
Yeah.
They had been that. Is that part?
No, well, this is the actual transcript I'm reading. So, that's what it is.
You see, so then it means that that's how the initial story always comes out. That's the hazard there. We run away or we run off with one part of a story, then subsequently it turns out that that's not it. If this is how it is, then it's not as bad as it was initially made out to look. Because you're saying that people have not been able to sleep, then that means that there are problems. Because if people are not able to sleep, some of their guys are not able to sleep because of security threats, then it means that he's also concerned.
No, he is talking. This is the context. This is the context.
Yes.
He is talking about those he suspected carried out the violence in Ayawaso, West Wuogon. And he says that, I don't know if you've heard. So when he talks about somebody's dead, he's referring to one of those people who they suspect was involved in Ayawaso, who is dead out of heart attack or whatever. And you see, these days, he said, you see, 3 days ago, yesterday, those who were living in Nima. So he's talking about the MPP people he suspects were Ayawaso. You get it?
Wow. So you see now their interpretation is good.
Yeah. So that's the context.
It's sufficient for me to go with it. So you see, that's the thing about tapes.
Yeah.
When you get into a court of law, assuming you get in there, you would need the tape to make sense. Okay. So the fact that you have a tape doesn't mean that immediately there will be a conviction.
Okay.
You remember the Tagore case?
Yes.
Where he said there was Safwa, where Safwa was supposed to mean kilos of cocaine. Yeah. Eventually what happened? The Court of Appeal threw out the case. Tagore is walking free, isn't it so? Yeah, so it's very slippery, especially, so you see, even for myself, initially we were made to understand it was something else, but now you see you're giving the interpretation. So what I can say is that, look, there's no way I will condone violence, okay, or seek to skew the law in favor of somebody who condone violence. But the beginning thing is that, as we stated, now we are yet to cross the hurdle whether this tape is authentic. That is to say, if it is Mr. Ofosu Ampofu's voice, we have to clear that hurdle.
What do you say to even within an NDC, they seem not to agree on? There is a deputy communications officer who says this is authentic, this meeting happened, and those things that were said were indeed said, and we are proud of the words that our chairman said. And then you have his boss saying it's not his voice, it's doctored, it's fake, disregard it. How does that even make this
I'm
event?
not surprised. It's always been like that. Do you remember in 2005 when Haruna Isuku said President Kufuor was accepting kickbacks in the castle?
True.
Yeah, people came within the MPP. Some said it was genuine, others said it was false. So we did this same thing. So when I was coming here, it just struck me. I was like, haven't we seen something like this before? Then Haruna Isuku's
Keep mine.
Yes. So that's why I said, let the police investigate. Due process of the law. When they investigate and find it to be a credible tape, it's authentic, then we will apply the law, because that really will be serious, subject to the meaning. As I've said, I'm not sure I really understand, because now you see you have to give me the context and all that. Yes, so, I mean, the best we can do is that it's good that the police have invited him very early, so that let the investigation.
So what is the police investigating then? I mean, so the pronouncements of...
Yes, because as I said, when I was coming to this studio, we were made to understand so far, you know, in the news, that there was a portion that said that they would kidnap some people, some parents.
You see, the NDC communication director is here, and he did a press conference, and he mentioned that as well. So, Mr. Professor, what was the specific part of the thing where you had kidnapping, for example?
It's a long take.
Yeah.
And the context, probably... Senior Counsel Martin,
maybe I haven't heard of it.
But this is not just a tape that surfaced. There's a background.
That's what
there's a context arising from House West War gone, subsequent matters that have arisen. This is a man who is before his people, and after the fact, justifying certain decisions he took, and trying to generate confidence in his people, and telling them that now, based on the experiences he's had in House West War gone, this is the way he's going to conduct his political campaigns. And part of that is to make sure that those who are seen as their political opponents will not be allowed to rest. That they are going to track these people, they are going to target them, and they are going to take certain actions against them. This is the context.
So that's why I said, so I thought I had heard they said they were going to be kidnapped.
Yeah,
so that's not what Evans...
people are going to take people hostage. The people doesn't mean ordinary people in the street. He means his people are going to be taking people they have targeted hostage. And when you take somebody hostage, you've kidnapped them. I see. Yes, a hostage is being kidnapped. You kidnap people and hold them and expect to exchange them for something or other to generate some sort of advantage.
And that's what I said. So it's good the police are going to investigate.
So there's a context to this. He was very explicit. And if you listen and you understand the context, because he says that based on happenings in House West War, as national chairman, he's now decided to change his style. And then they applaud it and they're happy. And how does he change his style? He's now going to adopt overt and covert methods of operation. But essentially, these are going to be ways and means of destabilizing, more subtle violence. They are going to pursue people. They are not going to make people rest. They are going to have people picked up and held hostage. They are going to launch campaigns of lies and attack certain personalities. In fact, the phrase used against the Electoral Commissioner was what? All-out war. They're going to have an all-out war.
So, Counsel, since you are also a very senior counsel, maybe then what we should do is that we should urge the police to expedite investigations, to find out, so that we'll authenticate the tape. Then we will know exactly what we are faced with. As I said, because until the tape is authenticated, it means that everything we are saying here, we are not really sure. You see, for me, especially as the security of the state is not endangered so far, at least we are sure that our security is intact. We should maybe hasten slowly. Let's authenticate it, then we are sure. Otherwise, Counsel, you know it as a lawyer as well, that people's reputations are at stake.
Very well. There are two levels to this. There's the security aspects. And clearly, when the Electoral Commissioner, when you hear somebody positing that the Electoral Commissioner is going to have all-out war waged against her, that's very disturbing. That's an attack on the state. That's an organ of the state. When you hear that he tells you that senior police officers are in touch with them and are literally, according to him, giving him intelligence about what the police are doing, that's an attack on the integrity of the state. When you hear him mention Colonel Asasijima and say that Asasijima insists that weapons have to be issued, otherwise he can't continue to persist to train them. Well, without weapons, there's nothing they can do. That is a serious attack on the integrity of the state. But beyond all that, I agree with you. I just wanted to learn on something. Okay. I agree with you to the extent that it is still necessary that it's investigated properly, authenticities established, but it's the moral, political hazard part of it.
We can't even come there until the tape is authentic. That's the thing. We can't even say a word.
It has to be two-track. It has to be two-track.
Yes.
Here is a situation where we are in virtually a make or break point where politically related violence is concerned. You have a president who says, I admit that this situation is untenable.
Good.
Whether the political parties agree or not, whether they accept it or not, politically related violence is in their territory.
The president did well by saying the party should meet.
So go out there and meet. Yes. So the question now is, the meeting, trust, integrity, moral hazard. So we need a situation where the chairman restores some integrity. Chairman that owns up, denies it sincerely before the whole world, or, to my mind, actually literally steps aside if it's true.
No, you ask for him to actually be resigned, but you know that's not
because of the duplicity.
But nothing has been proven against him.
Exactly. So let him come out himself.
So maybe, Evans, it's because you're giving the tape so much traction. Maybe that's part of the problem. Because once the police say they are investigating, maybe we shouldn't.
But without the media doing it, the police wouldn't have stepped in.
Yes. So
the media, in fact, the police in their letter to, for example, who said the CID has intercepted audio message circulating in both traditional and social media. So that's where they got it.
You've done very well by
so without us
but there should
blowing
be a limit.
Up, there's no way
maybe we shouldn't go in too much into the contents, because I'm sure from the way national security operates and the rest, there will be a high alert.
But do you actually believe that this will go anywhere? How do they authenticate Ghana? How do they authenticate?
There are processes. By the Tagore one,
we have a history.
Yes.
We have a history of our leak tapes.
Yes.
This Tagore one, it's only because Tagore admits it's his voice. They didn't contest it. I covered Tagore for years. They never contested that this is not my voice. Here, the man says it's not. It's doctored. It's fabricated. It's not my voice.
Said it. His communications officer has said it. No, you need to draw those decisions to the extent that
the party said we have the facilities for authentication.
You think so?
Yes. So there are two things. It's either they were going to say, okay, yes, is the one, or once they deny, the police have a way of authenticating. It's been there for a long time, over a century now.
We still need to draw the distinction. Yes. Condition precedent, establishing authenticity and all that.
Yes.
My worry, my interest, my concern is how you get the talks going.
Oh, the talks would. I'm sure chairman to chairman shouldn't be that difficult.
But no, it's not just chairman to chairman.
There's a breach of faith that's happened.
It's a breach of faith and trust. Because you have a chairman who is trying to get involved, a chairman, to establish a roadmap.
Yes.
To establish an agenda for negotiations, for talks.
Yes.
And bring other persons in, bring the security in.
Yes.
All those people around the table now feel a sense of, because he said quite a few things about the police themselves. Oh, that the police are on our side, the police
but
are
that is normal in our politics. It's always been.
But that's what I'm saying. The table now, just taking off on the table. I think Ofusu needs to do something exceptional to restore trust.
So what do you think what do you want to see in Ofusu to give you confidence that you can have this
conversation? First of all, his voice needs to be heard
on this matter.
I think that's a basic one. His voice needs to be heard. Now, what he chooses to put his voice to would be very...
As in what he actually says.
Exactly. Whether he commits to this or he toes the Sami Jemfi line. In other words, he has to choose between Kwekubuahi and Sami Jemfi.
No, but
as a party, once the party is denied, it means that
there's no way.
He's also the party.
No, once the party is denied, Leonard Council, you're a senior as well. I think once the party is denied, let's move on. I seriously don't
We should
think
move
that
on. We should leave it.
No, meaning that move to the next step, which is that, look, the
Authenticate
chairman
and
are
then the
supposed
police.
to. No, this one will leave
Oh,
for
I
the
mean,
police.
okay, I get what you're
In
saying.
terms of the
In other words,
deal
once
with
the police have
vigilante.
stepped in, leave
Yes,
the police to do it,
exactly.
whilst you have the conversation about
The
solving the
main
problem.
conversation is about how the parties will meet so that we deal with this vigilante issue. Otherwise, very soon, all our attention will come onto this tape, which is yet to be authenticated. So the message, as you rightly stated, should be how the two chairmen are coming together to do the roadmap for the meeting to take place. That is what Ghanaians are expecting. So let's channel all our energies into that. Let the police do their work.
And that is why
the
matter must come from the national chairman himself.
Oh,
because if you want
once
to go,
the parties react, I think that Leonard,
go into the party's reaction. Even the language of the reaction, it doesn't generate trust. He could simply have come out and said, I deny it, and the party denies it, and can we move forward? But he goes into spying and, but the kinds of things he is saying in that statement don't even generate confidence in moving forward again.
So let me read that, because that is a very serious
allegation
they've made, and this is
amazing.
And this is a bit, and
doesn't generate.
I'll bring you in on this, because this is also important. That the party says that NDC states for the record that the statement attributions are concocted and false. It said they are consistent with the character and track record of that the malicious, depraved, and clearly doctored tape has been contrived. Having said, the NDC is fully aware of evil and wicked plots by setting elements within national security and government to spy on meetings of its officials, record and intend doctor such recordings for their spiteful ends. And this is the part that they add, that the party is currently considering all legal options available to it and will take appropriate steps to halt the phenomenon immediately, including suing for this.
Let's not take it out of context. Let's do this. Very good. So, granted that it's not even the forum. So this is what we do.
Why
see,
this?
the things that
so
unite
why
us
you give
are
people
far more than the ones
and
that...
so much rope, and then you have something on the table that ought not
So we
to
just
be.
ignore that side.
Oh, really?
So we ignore that side and focus on drawing out the roadmap for us to meet to deal with the vigilante issue. That is what we are all expectant about.
It's about the vigilante issue.
Yes, the vigilante issue we want to deal with. So that should be on the front burner. Oh, Leonard, until he started hammering like this, I'm sure somehow they can...
He sits there in front of me.
Yes.
And he tells me,
yes,
I have no vigilantes.
Oh, there will be mediators and all that.
It does have no vigilantes.
But by knowing mediation is complex.
Yes.
The mediators step in and honesty at some point. And I'm sure the MPP to have made a point that you also don't have.
We need. No.
Both sides have said the same.
That's what I'm saying. That now we have a clean slate.
Yeah.
So these events after.
No, to be candid. Look, if we will speak.
And that is why we need to be candid. That is why we don't need these diversions.
Yes,
that
this
is why
is small. This will pale.
It shouldn't be small. But you
small.
accuse the government of evil plots.
You just ignore it. Ignore it for now. Let's focus attention on what is on the... Yes, I accept that side is not the best. But let's focus what is on the front burner. It is about the two-party chairmen coming out with the roadmap for the vigilante issue to be tackled. That should be right. Simple. Look, let me show you. International, look at this context.
He's made a point. He's made a point. Just a second. You say?
Yes, very good. So that should be right.
Concluding that process.
Very good.
That is why I'm saying that the national chairman himself, who is going to be at the center of that process, ought to be heard on this matter in an exceptional way. And that will also determine the flavor of the talks, at least the initial part of the talks, whether it will be started in suspicion or it will be started in reasonable amiableness for certain things to happen. So this statement, I wouldn't really see it as the icebreaker, the one that sweeps the matter aside. It still leaves a certain flavor of the state.
However, you're so committed to the process.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can't afford to let this chance slip. This is a supreme exercise of political will. It's rare in African politics. The president to stand in front of us and say, this is a problem, we need to deal with it, and we need to bequeath our country with better than this. You can't have it better than that. Anybody who derails that process doesn't deserve the respect and trust of Ghanaians. No way.
Yes, Evans, I was going to add that, look at it international, even in the context of U.S.-China relations. Now, They are talking. Yeah, there are issues of espionage. There are other issues of trade, right? So it's not as if by
technology advance.
Exactly. So you see, the Chinese
are more
have
advanced now than the Americans.
Good. And you know, the American companies have complained incessantly that the Chinese are stealing their technology and all that.
And yet they are
talking. So it's normal for me. This really. So the best thing we do is that we focus on the positives. That's it. That's how you always say. In life, I can give you 1,001 examples. It's always been like that. You go to the Arab-Israeli, talks. You don't always have everything perfect. Yet they talk. They talk. Sometimes you have the peace talks going on, and then boom, somebody is killed. Then you say, oh, stop. Sometimes they stop, but they return. So in life, this is it. You will never get everything aligned properly for you, but you have to make do with what you have. So for me, right now, I can feel the mood in the country. What we are expecting is how the president's clarion call that the party should meet will be delivered. How are we going to deliver that baby, the peace, that's getting rid of this vigilante violence? For me, that's the number one thing now. So any other thing is secondary. And as I've stated, because the police are investigating, let the police do their work. Yes.
And let's focus on building in the break. Well, when we return, can we ignore the NDC's belief that their offices are being bugged? Should we ignore that too? I mean, at least they've said tonight that they're going to take legal action. Really, what would legal action look like? Do they have any real basis to go to court? And what would it take to prove this? We'll interrogate that. And is MPP concerned about this allegation that the government, or it's one that they're going to dismiss out of hand? We'll look at that, and most importantly, look at what might happen tomorrow when some of Sampofo appears before the CID to assist with investigations. Stay with us here on PM Express. Live on PM Express here on the JoyNews channel, and the NDC had said in the statement that they have been bugged, which is a very serious allegation, really. In Ghana's history, we're yet to hear such a thing, and they say they are taking legal action. Mr. Kwebu, so when you hear a party say they're going to take legal action because the officers have been bugged, is that a crime? What really are they going to court to say?
Good. So unless they can prove, of course, so it means they have to prove that there was no justifiable basis, okay, or the bugging was unjustified. The reason being that, you see, what happens is that in the Constitution, there is the privacy of our communication.
Yeah.
So everybody's communication, okay, is guaranteed, is given privacy, okay. But there are certain exceptions. That is to say, for law enforcement purposes, that is to say, if they need to bug your premises in order to track if crimes are being committed or a crime is being plotted, public safety purposes, okay, and so on and so forth. So the Constitution says that, yes, the privacy of everybody's communication is guaranteed, but subject to these public policy exceptions, prevention of crime and the rest. And so there have been 2 cases so far in recent times that the Supreme Court is considered Article 18.2, this privacy of communication. In the Pokuya case, ADB, Pokuya vs. ADB, yes, she was recorded at work by journalists who interviewed her, okay? And then when the Supreme Court went into it, they saw that even apart from the matters that she stated being that public, there was no basis for the recording, you see. So it was deemed that the court held that the recording was a violation of a right of privacy and awarded her some damages, okay? Then there's the Kubaji case, but when 2 parties were in court, then one of the parties sought to interview the other outside court as to the basis of the other party's claim, recorded him to show that, look, this man in court doesn't actually even believe in his claim. Now, this is what the Supreme Court said. So far, the test is that the court says it would decide on the cases, it will be a case-by-case approach for now. You see, so if your premises are bugged, the court will look to see what was it, what was the reason, is there any justifiable reason? Then they'll juxtapose that as against the private right to privacy. So when they weigh, the one that is weightier will win. So we can only espouse the principles more or less in a vacuum, but each specific case will determine where the pendulum swings.
Okay.
You say,
in this case, it suggests that and they drew parallels with Watergate.
Yeah, Watergate.
So they suggest that this was purely done to give political advantage to the NPP. Yeah. And they say the NPP is deploying national security to do this.
Okay.
And they claim they spotted this a few months back. They've been working to debug their headquarters. Okay. But they don't know if they've managed to spot all the bugs. Yeah. Now, but they've indicated they're going to court. I mean, that's something they've been clear about. Yes. So if it's for not the prevention of crime, but as it suggests, for political purposes,
then they'll have a case. They'll have a case, because then in that case there's no need to interfere.
But they have to prove that.
That's what I say. So that's what I say. So the name of the game is evidence. Okay. As I said, so we are discussing in a vacuum. We've not been seized with all the facts, so we can't even pretend to analyze the NDC's case. No, we're just talking about what we find in the law. In the law. That's it. Yes, we are not analyzing
the fact that there's a fact that this tape was first aired on an MPP affiliated station, right? Subsequent, the day after, I mean, yesterday I had it on Oman FM. The MPP then does a press conference and puts that, seek to make political capital out of it. And the man who the press conference CIA, he won't deny that's what
part of his job.
It's his job.
Yes.
Doesn't that back there? Doesn't that circumstantial evidence there?
It's difficult.
The thing was first aired. They secured the first aired on MPP station.
And you are assuming that that information was actually spliced together, like he's saying. Are the bugs in the office where the meeting was held? And does he have evidence of those bugs?
Maybe they do. Maybe they said they debugged
for 6 months. Yeah. He said about they still having meetings in there. That's serious. Oh. But essentially, I think that they would have to have evidence of it.
Yeah. But are you bugging the NDC headquarters?
Absolutely not. It's ridiculous.
But I don't expect you to say you
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I really don't. That's why I feel that this is, in reality, something that sours the mood.
But if they have a reason to suggest, is this
the time?
How did you get this audio?
Oh, please. You expect me to sit here?
I'm not expecting you to.
I don't know.
I'm only asking because somebody recorded it. If it's not a bug, who did?
Let me try my imagination. I'm not as imaginative as Sammy Jemfi.
Yeah.
Wow. But I'll try. Because this is like a movie. What is written is, it's Watergate.
Hollywood.
It's Watergate. It's Watergate-ish. Yeah. Let me find something akin to that. Suppose somebody within the NDC present at that meeting did not like the proceedings and the way they were received with enthusiasm by some of the crowd, who may, in a sense, have been misguided too, in thinking that they had a weapon in this suggestion, and that person actually did record, and then afterwards has battled with their conscience. I don't know whether it's a he or her, so I'm saying there. It's battle with their conscience, and finally gets to the point where the person decides that in the public interest, in the interest of the republic, in the interest of the president who has laid his credibility on the line, in the interest of all of us going forward, the party to which I belong cannot be allowed to do this, to deceive the public.
And the person goes
the person goes out there and says, take this thing.
Well, he didn't. The person goes to an NPP MP.
Why would the person go to an NDC MP? Or the same
go to the police.
To the police.
You have evidence
but they said they don't trust. They've said the psychology within their group is that they're not supposed to trust the police.
But they could have brought
that is what is happening
about
now.
You remember
they keep turning around. They are spinning. They've stopped turning around. They are spinning.
At their last election,
they
trusted the police to do it. So maybe.
So that can also be spun. Stories or any manner of stories can be spun. That's why I feel that the statement denying the tape is in bad taste. To the extent that it brings in all these matters, it's in bad taste. It's too imaginative.
But why? I mean, if they seriously believe that.
Is this the time?
First of all, they dismiss that.
Is this the time to tell us you are going to court about bugging or whatever?
Well, I asked the question, truly, I asked the question of Hamid Jemfi, that if it's true that you spotted the bugs a few months back, why are you now taking legal action after all the months that elapsed? Then he said, we've been, go to court, you just don't get up. You need the evidence, and so we've been gathering them. We are trying to debug and find more bugs, and then so it's a legal process that they are preparing their case. He says that is why that has delayed.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yes. So on the delay,
Yeah.
actually the question was on the Watergate thing.
Yeah.
You see, no, you know, our nation, we've really made progress. Yeah, we've become that much more sophisticated. So if it turns out that really it was the persons they are alleging who taped it, okay, the state apparatus, that could have very dire consequences. It could. So let's just see how it pans out. Because just as Watergate happened in Ghana, anything can happen. Really, I mean, in this context.
But really, nothing will happen in Ghana if even it turns out that the state that did it.
Oh, no. Don't
underestimate
underestimate
the
the
third
public.
time you say that.
You need strong institutions.
Yes, don't underestimate the public.
So the police will investigate the sitting government.
Every time something has
in Ghana.
happened, every time something has happened and apparently appears to have petered out with nothing happening, public opinion has changed.
Exactly.
And institutions have strengthened.
Exactly.
Because best practice, the more we talk, the more we explore, next time that thing does not happen the same way ever again. So we are probably stronger than we think.
Exactly.
We are probably stronger than we think.
And I support that.
So that is why at this point we mustn't lose the opportunity of working with Nana Akufo-Addo. A president
you must add that.
Yes, no, he's strong-willed. Beyond the fact that he's a president who is being born out of the MPP, this is a man with over 40 years experience of our politics, from the simple democratic we're having now, and of which he was a party, a member in repealing criminal libel when he had the opportunity as Attorney General. He has always fought for rights, irrespective of danger to himself. He has always fought for expansion and inclusion of democratic rights for the benefit of others.
So you're saying that if this indeed happens, there's no way he would have sanctioned it?
I'm saying that I don't believe it happened, but I don't want to even be speculative. Like I said, I don't want to write stories. I could also write stories. But what I'm saying is that our entire society stands on the cups of something unique. We have a mix of ingredients that we must take advantage of, and that mustn't be allowed to spill. That's what I'm saying. That you have a unique chance with a president who is prepared to put his credibility on the line, to put his political party's future on the line, not to duck, or he says the buck stops with me. I accept that there's something wrong. And it's not because of Ayahuasca West were gone. He himself, in going to parliament the first time, had to face guns from his own cousin, guns, before it was declared. They was shooting in 1996. You understand? Political violence, way back from independence, it's something he's saying that we can't bequeath. At this point, we can't bequeath it to the future. As early as the 2020 election, we should be able to have a debate and walk in there and cast our votes and walk out. And that is the opportunity that we have. And therefore, every party to that opportunity must put their best foot forward. And what's your best foot? Leadership, integrity, trust. Because we are going into a situation where we are exploring each other. So trust. If I say something and I walk away from the table, the other group must feel that what I have said will happen and that I'm committed to what we are saying together at the table. But if we get up and I have to look over my shoulder and find other means of confirming whether what he has said or she has said is what they are committed to and will do, it does not advance the process. We lose the opportunity. And if we lose this opportunity, whenever,
we are not going to lose it.
It means we'll be scaling up.
No, you know the public is putting pressure. You know Evans and do a good job. Joy FM is doing that. Stop the vigilance. So we are not going to stop.
The MPP is totally committed to it.
Exactly.
We will not stop.
And civil society too are totally committed. Yes. So what we can say is that Joy FM, look, keep the good work going. Increase the traction for the stop the
party militias now.
Stop the party militias now. That should be the main.
Yes,
and it's getting traction. And civil society
on the back of your president.
Exactly.
Your president.
So that should be the message.
On the back of the president
or the president of the republic.
It's normal. It's not everything you have to apologize because
you understand. It's been diabolical. Yes. Thank you, gentlemen, for the time here on PM Express. Tomorrow, some people is going to appear before the CID at 10 a.m. We'll see how that unfolds. But also the Commission of Inquiry into the Ayahuasca West Wuogon by-election violence, they have a statement out tonight. I want to quickly read to you something that they're going to do tomorrow in terms of getting to the bottom of what happened. And it says that they the pursuant to its mandate and instrument of establishment contained under CI 111, the Yawaso West Wuogon Commission of Inquiry will be conducting a locus visit to inspect and fully examine the scene of the events and environment surrounding the conduct of the by-election on the 31st day of January 2019. This is a fact-finding exercise designed to apprise and furnish the Commission with corroborative evidence, otherwise relative to the testimonies given before it. And so the commissioners themselves will be going to the scene of the violence and the by-election to see it for themselves tomorrow. A very interesting side it will be tomorrow. So stay with us as we together, and I'm glad to hear from the MPP that they are committed to the process of disbanding the party militias, regardless of the tape that we've discussed tonight. Enjoy your evening.